we're live. All right. Now, how do we monitor the comments?
I was going to pull it up on my phone.
Okay, so let's see. Setting up. All right. I think we are there. How are you, Morgan?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. Is that your feedback? Are you gonna?
I don't hear anything. You hear it's feedback? Let me What about now? You hear something?
Okay, yeah.
That's better. Okay. And I got my fan.
No. That was just the thing.
Okay.
That's better. How about for you? How does it sound?
You sound crisp. Sounds good.
Crisp. I love that definition. Crisp.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure everything was good. Give me just one more second. Do you mind? I just want to make sure I'm just checking. It's a weird delay. How about on your end? No? So that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why that is doing that. All right. So we will let me go over here. There we are. Okay. There we go. I fixed it. Okay. I fixed it. Listen, thank you for showing up for the after show here on the Realest Realtor podcast. And let me do one other thing. This is so let me tell everybody, this is our first time doing the live.
Yes.
So yeah. So it'll be a little trial and error, but guess what? That's all right, because we are here for all that fire. So I know. So I want to tell everybody that today I have one of my favorite authors, Morgan B. Holland, the phenom that she is, author of The Merge book series, owner of her own publishing house, and also affectionately known to thousands as Madam Goal Slayer. And Morgan, would you like to tell the listening audience what your Madam Goal Slayer title involves?
Okay, yes. So thank you. I am Morgan B. Holland, Madam Goal Slayer from GoCare.com. And so primarily what I help people do is to align their subconscious mind with their conscious desires. So I'm a publisher, a writer, and your vibrational alignment coach. So that is kind of encompasses like what it is that I do. And when it comes to Madam Goal Slayer, if you just can imagine, once you have clarity, mental clarity, and you clean up some of that stuff that has you clogged and blocked, you can reach your goals so much quicker. And sometimes it looks like people just win. That's because they have that clarity.
I love that. And that is so important. And that's why I really wanted to, like I said, I wish more celebrities that I knew had time to hop on the after show with me. So I feel so blessed to be in your inner circle. So I know that time is so important to all of us. And one of the things after the last podcast, so the podcast this week, and folks, make sure that you're listening to the Realest Realtor podcast every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on Anchor and Spotify. Yeah. And if you're here with us on YouTube, we thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when we go live. So our most recent show this week, we've kicked off our summer season. And so we've been talking about just different memories, good memories. And this week, I thought it was so important to talk about having the ability or the fact that it's time to dream again.
Yeah.
Because of course, with everything that we're seeing going on in the world right now, um, sometimes we're so mired in our hurt and our frustration, our anger, our justified anger, that we kind of lose sight of those dreams. So I want to kind of start off something because I know um, the things that you coach about and you train people on, and that you teach so many people. So I say, you know what, let me start off with a question that's going to kind of spider web us to dreaming again, because when you talked about that clarity, we have to first see it in our minds to bring it to the earthly realm. So we'll get to that. I have been reflecting on so many things, and I'm a believer and lover of nature.
Mhm.
I feel like if we pay attention to what's happening in nature and what's going on around us, it will explain many things that we see on our human side. But unfortunately, too many of us are just clogged with noise and things and racing from here to there and trying to acquire more physical things, that we just don't pay attention to nature. And I feel like COVID came along and made everybody sit down. And from that, you know how sometimes old folks will say to you, you know not what the future holds, right? We were so busy focusing on COVID, we had no idea it was bringing us to George Floyd. And I say that because I feel like COVID kicked it off. It gave us time to be with our loved ones, or alone, reflecting. And in my opinion, gave us time to fortify and rejuvenate, because we didn't know the fight was coming. What are your thoughts about the coming out of COVID, what that afforded before we lost our beloved brother, George Floyd? Of course, he's not the first. Let's just be clear.
Right, right. So in my mind, I saw it as the perfect storm. So if you want to think about whenever a tornado comes or a hurricane comes, it has to be just the right amount of warmth from this area and from that area to start the spiral, right? You have people who are out of work, so they have the time to go to protest. They don't have nowhere to go. They don't have any money. They are hungry, no jobs. So some people lose their health insurance. And you are sitting with your thoughts minus the distractions. Because when you go to work and you live your life, you're bombarded with all these distractions. But when you have to sit at home, naturally the fog starts to lift because you don't have the active distractions in your mind. And now all of a sudden people can connect. I personally see coming out of COVID as a movement, as we had in the Renaissance period. It just seemed like all these beautiful poets and jazz players just came up from once that weren't related. It's because it was a movement happened. And so that's kind of how I see things right now. You talk about nature. It's like everything was prepared and lined up for this. I had to check myself too, because I'm like, unfortunately, George Floyd is not an anomaly. This happens all the time. But for some reason, now it matters. It's like, why does it matter now?
Right.
Because of everything else that happened because of COVID-19. It's just
right,
it's
right,
the perfect
right.
storm.
It
And that
was the perfect
nature.
storm. It was, and nature, and the thing about it, nature probably wasn't pleased with us anyway. On a lot of fronts, so I definitely think about that. And it's so interesting because I was even when I was doing the podcast for this week, and so many of the good summer memories that have been described on the show have all involved some form of nature. Your favorite, tree. I remember my mom and my sister talking about this weeping willow tree in my grandmother's yard, or, favorite tree that you used to climb, or, whatever it may be. Like, a lot of my good memories involve nature, in some way, shape, or form. And I think we've got to just get back to the essence of, like you said, clarity. So that's why I was like, oh my gosh, this would be a perfect segment to have you on for the after show, because I think people sometimes lose sight of how to dream because they've lost clarity, like you said, from those active, I like that you called it active distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we're not aware of the active distractions. And let me tell you something, quiet as it's kept. Well, it's not quiet. Even before COVID, there were people going to work who were missing meals at home, didn't have
Mm-hmm.
health insurance, were underemployed or underpaid, and living bare, not even really living from paycheck to paycheck, having to make decisions. So we were just at a place where there was so much ugliness and
Yeah.
an abuse of, certain factions of the society.
And think about it. So you had COVID, and now we have this full Black Lives Matter that we haven't seen like ever. Every state has some type of protest for it. You got billion-dollar corporations saying, "I stand in solidarity with Black people."
Yeah.
And what does that make? So we deal with a lot of trauma, Black people in
Yes.
particular,
Yes.
quite resilient. But now other people are feeling this trauma that we've been experiencing all the time. So what do? You look for ways to heal and relax, nature. And another thing is when you don't have work, you don't have money, you don't have food, you still need to live, you still need to eat, you get creative. So now our
Yes.
creativity is turned on. And what happens when your creativity is turned on? You got to start dreaming, you got to start imagining.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all of this is leading us back to where we should have been. Never stop dreaming, never stop creating, and getting back in touch with nature. And all
Mm.
of it's so funny how it connects, but that's what it does. And we were talking earlier how something could be traumatic, but then you'll see this post or this meme that makes you laugh.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
need that humor.
We
We
do.
need that laughter. And so I think that this is the perfect summer just to get creative, start dreaming
Yes.
again, because that helps you
Yes.
feel good, to
Yes, it
offset the
does.
trauma,
Mm-hmm.
so we can stay resilient. And I do worry about people who, if you experience a lot of trauma, you know how to move in it. Someone who
Sure.
doesn't, they take it really, it's really hard for them.
Right. Right.
So I send my prayers to those people like this is new to them. They're like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, how can this happen? And I'm sitting here like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah. Well,
it's
it
a lot
happened.
of, it's a lot of
It happens a lot. Yeah.
blackness.
Well, it happened 5 times in the month of May.
And
I mean, come on,
exactly. And they're
right?
like, oh my gosh, this is, and
Yeah.
so it's like, I'm excited that it's getting attention, but
Sure.
I would be lying if I said that it wasn't slightly confusing, because even with Mr. George Floyd, the severity of it, I mean, there are people are passed away in a very gruesome manners,
Mm-hmm.
shot over 100 times by the police. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Things more
Mm-hmm.
gory. And it's like,
Sure.
this did it. But I'm like, whatever. A catalyst is a catalyst.
Oh,
Try to point
absolutely.
out the straw that
Right.
was going to
And
do it.
there you go. And like you said, it almost came on the heels of the perfect storm anyway. And
Right.
I'm
Right.
just grateful to the ancestors, the hundreds of thousands of them.
Yes. We are
I'm
not
just,
alone.
yes, we are not alone. And I'm grateful that whatever, because I almost feel like when nature's not pleased with us, there are many other entities not pleased with us either.
Mhm.
And it's almost like, okay, y'all
And
are
we've
out of
we've seen it
control.
before. People seen it in the Midwest whenever there was a tornado.
Oh
It can
yeah.
wipe out a town, but this barn that's a 200 years old is still standing. And it's like,
Right.
how did the tornado just weave around that and then took out this house?
Right.
Yeah. So what people believe, that's their business, but it does not stop what's the truth. You don't got to believe in gravity. Step off that roof.
I love it.
It doesn't require your faith.
Yes. Disclaimer. We're not encouraging you to step off of a roof, but yes, you're going down. You're going down. I love that. Thank you so much for giving us that guidance on that question. So when I was encouraging the listeners to dream again, it was because, especially here in the summer season, we do have to dream again about being in the sun, taking in fresh air, being aware of our breath, being aware of the birds singing, being aware of, ants. Those worker ants, boy, they've been busy, baby. So, these are things I see, I'll notice things like that. Dreaming about traveling, because one of the things that I shared with the listeners is that the world is bigger than your neighborhood. So for many people in maybe, I don't know, pick a state, I don't know, Connecticut, they may have seen what happened to George Floyd and been like, oh my God. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know how anybody could not know that Black folks have been on the receiving end of some of the most atrocious and worst treatment in the history of this country that they built on the blood and backs of their ancestors. Sorry, I've digressed. But it's almost like you have to go beyond your boundaries, not just to, of course, to rest, to rejuvenate yourself, to enjoy your time away, but also to become aware that it's not all about you. That many times we think, oh, woe is me, I can't get a new car for another 3 years. Like, what?
Right.
Those are like, first world problems, right? So then you travel somewhere, even listen, even in these great United States, we don't have to go far to do mission work to see poverty and hunger and need.
Doctors Without Borders,
Yeah.
they are helping Native Americans right now in the United States of America. Why does Doctors Without Borders have to help a group of people in America? So yes,
See?
you do not have to go far. And then
No,
something as
no.
simple as city dwellers, like in the metropolitan area versus
Mm-hmm.
the rural area. You get spoiled. You have access to resources,
Mm,
especially in the DMV area.
yes, yes.
I mean, social work, the social worker building, social services building is there.
Right,
If you want to
right.
go get help with food, is there. All these churches are passing out
Sure,
food and
sure.
supplies. But if you're in a rural area, you don't have that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have
It's
access to
different.
trauma centers and hospitals. The
Mm-hmm.
specialists, the specialty doctors, they're
Oh,
not in the back
forget about it.
areas.
No. And many times you've got to travel hundreds of miles to get to a specialty doctor if you need it. And I'm a mom. And if my baby were sick, I would travel to the ends of the earth to save her. If I didn't have the
Yeah.
money, I'd walk.
So if
Do
you
you see what
travel,
I'm saying?
you
So
can see
you
that perspective,
yeah,
even
so
within the states.
you really have to be mindful of things like that. And so yeah, I'm just, yes, I'm grateful to you though for again just reminding us about that clarity, being still with ourselves to help us be able to dream again. And the one thing that I know has been so much of a blessing to me is that I participate in your literary therapy club.
Oh yes,
Yes,
literary
and I listen,
therapy.
my journal. Did I ever show you my journal
No,
that I use for
oh, you have a
literary
dedicated
therapy?
journal. Okay.
Yes, because literary therapy has been so helpful to me because even with all of the accomplishments that the both of us have and continue to make, I've been in a dark place myself.
Yeah, and see that it's so cool because it's a novel, that we're going through breaking down, and
Yeah.
so
Can
it
you
gives you
tell
an
them a little bit about literary therapy?
Oh, okay. So literary therapy is, in short, it's literature that helps you to pivot your perspective. Okay. It helps to heal you from psychological disorders, whether it's self-sabotage or anxiety or depression. And that could be through writing, reading, sign language, hearing it. So that's what it is. And we use my book series, The Merge.
The
And
merge.
it's so great because you read this novel and it gives you examples, because you know how we can recognize everybody else's problem. So you recognize somebody else's problem, we discuss it, and then I flip it and reverse it. I ask you a question and you
Yes, you
sitting there
do.
like,
Yes, you do.
and you know exactly what I'm talking about because I already
Mm-hmm.
gave you an example. This is
Yes.
when an example precedes the question. So you can't say, what you talking about? I don't understand. You do. We
No
had a
say,
conversation.
no say.
We had a conversation about this character. And
Right,
and it's
right.
it's good because it sparks self-reflection in a very natural way,
Mm-hmm.
non-judgmental way.
It's definitely a safe space, I know, for me. And I enjoy it, with all the other
Awesome.
folks that show up for that. And I felt like, in conjunction with me, encouraging the listeners to dream again, I was like, you know what, we need to talk a little more about literary therapy, because it's needed. I mean, it's definitely something that's needed, because, and I know that, like I said, with your coaching, your training, your one-on-ones, you encourage people to not only reflect through journaling, but other things as well. So I know it's been awesome for me. And during a time like this, I just felt like it was something folks needed to
Yeah,
have.
and it
I
takes your
wanted to,
mind off of
it
some
takes
other.
your mind off of stuff. And one of the things I've committed to do, because I'm an activist from way back, but I'm no longer a spring chicken. So, I know it's hard to believe, baby.
Okay.
But I stay in my lane. And my lane right now, even though I might go protest tomorrow, I'm just saying, shh, don't tell nobody. But my lane right now is to offer as much education to people as I can. And so that's an encouragement. That's my purpose and my mission here on life. I'm bigger than real estate. Real estate
Yes,
is the
definitely.
mechanism that I use to empower people to become financially free. Because what were we just talking about? People working full jobs and you have to decide between eating a meal and paying a bill. Come on now, what? Eating a meal and paying a
Bars.
bill. Come on, bars, baby. So that should not be happening in America, right? They have to decide, do I get my medicine or feed my children? Those things shouldn't be happening in America, right? So I help people see, dream. Because, see, once it's here, it's not going to stay here. I'm going to help you make it a reality. So whether it's, to get a home, a sanctuary for your own family, an investment property, on the podcast, I was talking about, remember I said to you, I didn't even know that, like with Airbnb and Sonder, I was having a ball. So for my milestone birthday, I don't know where we're going, but look, guys, make sure you're leaving some suggestions for me here on this video. Even with things like that, I didn't realize people could get into that industry and have a passive income from it without having to own the properties.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? I totally didn't know. I'm the realest realtor. Come on now. So I educate myself on these things so that I can have more and more and more to offer. Because let me tell you something, to the day I leave this earth, I want to help people become financially free owning dirt.
Yeah.
They ain't making more dirt, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that nature. So, but I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent, but that's how your literary therapy helps me. It keeps me unclogged.
Good.
And I appreciate that. And if it's okay with you, I want to drop the link in the chat for folks. And then, guys, I'll make sure that I'll make sure that I go back and leave it in the description of this video. So you can just follow Morgan at morganbholland.com. And when you go to that website, you'll see that she's got a section there for courses. And just click on the courses and you will see literary therapy. And we meet, I wish we met every day, but I'm not gonna put her on the spot.
First and third Tuesday.
First and third
every
Tuesday
month.
of every month. Yeah. And so I just dropped that in the chat for everybody so that you will know how to find that. And I'm saying, I don't even need Morgan to say it. I'm encouraging you to join us. She doesn't need to say it. I know what it has done for me. And I'm the realest realtor. All I can do is give you the facts. And I know that it has definitely, and I thank you, Morgan. It has definitely helped me through this time deal with some anger, some frustration, things that I've said. I was an educator for over 20 years. I've loved and educated many babies who are now grown folks. So I'm not gonna say my age, but and so many things hurt me to my heart. I may have birthed one, but I'm the mother of thousands. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, I say thank you because literary therapy has definitely been helpful to me. Awesome. It definitely has. Any last parting words on this after show that you'd like to give folks?
I just encourage people to stay on top of their mental and their emotional health. Yes. If you feel yourself getting too heavy, no worries. Step away. Give yourself time and space. We do not always have to feel chipper. That's right. That's part of being human. Feel it, process it, release it. Then you can get back to business.
That's right. Back to business because that's what we do, boo. We
Yes.
mind our successful Black businesses.
Yes.
Hello. So,
Yes.
folks, make sure you're going over to support Morgan B. Holland. I dropped the website there in the chat. Also, this is Carmelita Turner, the realest realtor you know, and I am so grateful to all who viewed this video. And please make sure that you're rocking with us each and every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on Anchor and Spotify. Click our link in the our link bio so that you can follow us on all of our platforms to stay informed of what we're doing, where we are in the community, and information that we're going to bring to you. Thanks so
Mhm.
much, folks. Thanks for watching. Until next